Great. So we're moving to the next presentation. Thank you so much, Kelly and Erika, for the introduction. It really sets the stage for the presentation that I want to share with all of you. And it is an honor to be in Portland. What a beautiful city. And I'm hoping, as I mentioned yesterday or the day before, to be able to spend some time after the workshop that we have on Saturday to get to see the city. It's a great honor to be with you, and humbly here to share a little bit of how the work of the GSTC, the Council, has helped the Rainforest Alliance and the work that we're doing in Latin America. So I'm going to take you to another part of the world, another reality. It is not the same conditions that you have here in the US and Canada, and just share with you how the existence of the Council so far has helped the work that we do. I know we're short of time, right? We are? How much time do I have? 20 minutes. So let me cut to the chase and move to the last slide, the conclusion. And then we can all go and have lunch. In a nutshell, the existence of the Council has definitely provided great support for us in connecting the work that we do locally with international developments. It really gives that kind of international relevance that Erika was talking about. During the past 12 years, I have seen fantastic efforts being done in many rural, very isolated destinations in Latin America, but nobody in the world knows about it. And many of these companies don't even have a website that they can basically use to portray the great work that they're doing. So by connecting with something like the Council and the global criteria, we have been able to really bring that message up to the international arena. It has also helped us strengthen the existing tools, the things that, the materials, the manuals, the training capacity, building modules that we have, and really raise the bar to what, according to this international consultation that took place for the development of the criteria, as Erika mentioned, is considered to be the baseline or minimum criteria that any business claiming sustainability should fulfill. Of course, it had helped us increase benefits for companies that are already implementing sustainability practices, but also welcome the participation of new companies that might not be as familiarized with this concept. Having the criteria has enabled us to in a very simplified way, explain what sustainability means without getting into very abstract definitions, and maybe some of them being very romantic, but they don't have the pragmatism that is needed for a business, particularly a small one, to begin implementing sustainability practices the next day. Connect with like-minded organizations, and this is probably one of the greatest things about the Council, that we are constantly, through the working groups and the other fora that the Council hosts, we are constantly in connection with organizations that believe we need to join forces rather than work in isolation. That we can really create change by uniting forces to create a critical mass that will enable sustainability to really be a mainstream movement rather than just a niche movement. And finally, it has helped further our mission because, you know, that's what the Rainforest Alliance is all about, and we are committed to conservation of biodiversity and the development and creation of sustainable livelihoods by working with industries such as yours that will enable us to change the way we use resources, the way we use the land, the way we do business, and the way we all behave as consumers. We, here in the US and Canada, probably two of the better known programs are the Sustainable Tourism Program and the Sustainable Forestry Program and the Rainforest Alliance, through which we have certified hundreds of thousands of hectares of agricultural land and forestry operations. Right now, under the Sustainable Agriculture Program, we have been able to certify 1.35 million acres of land in many countries, particularly in Latin America and Africa. Africa, and forestry, which is very active here in the US and in Canada, through that program, which basically certifies under the Forestership Council. And those of you staying at the hotel probably saw that the envelope where you got the key for your room is made of paper certified under the Forestership Council by the Rainforest Alliance. So we're very happy to see that happening here at the Hilton. And certifying land in 65 countries around the globe. But tourism, we decided to engage in tourism 12 years ago because we realized it's a wonderful industry that theoretically depends on the natural and cultural resources that are the main reasons why travelers are going to all these places in Latin America in the first place. So great industry with growing potential, growing exponentially in many so-called biodiversity hotspot countries. Some of the countries have experienced in the past decade an increased visitation of more than 250%. And on the other hand, tourism really representing an important source of income for many, many developing nations. As a matter of fact, today we know that tourism is one of the top 10 sources of income for 83% of the developing countries around the world. So we had to work with tourism. We had no choice. 12 years ago, we decided to then take advantage of the potential that that industry had and set up 3 goals: to improve sustainability performance in tourism businesses, to create demand for sustainable tourism, and to help develop internationally relevant standards such as the work that the GSTC has done. If I have to summarize this graphically, and this is an oversimplification of what we do, but we basically go to all these destinations, partner with local organizations, chambers, NGOs, and others, provide training and technical assistance to businesses of all sizes. And then we encourage them to go up the ladder by verifying every 18 months that they are indeed committed to sustainability, that they are implementing the global sustainable tourism criteria and beyond. And then once they're ready, we encourage them to apply for one of the existing certification programs out there that are in compliance with the GSTC, and hopefully once the council launches the accreditation, programs that are fully accredited. But none of that would make sense for many businesses if they don't have market incentives. So we also work heavily and internationally on providing market access to the businesses, whether those are rural ecotourism business or sun and beach, whatever it is that we're working on, and to provide them with market access at the international level. Throughout that ladder, we use the work of the council, particularly the global sustainable tourism criteria, to be able to speak the same language along all these steps and to establish the partnerships that we need in order to accomplish our mission. So, in summary, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council has helped us by providing us with criteria that has in turn strengthen our tools. We have a variety of tools that we use in Latin America, from very generic tools to ecosystem-specific tools like this one for coastal marine ecosystems or for tropical forest ecosystems, tools for tour operators and Latin American stakeholders, as well as tools for communities, community-based tourism, and businesses located in World Heritage Sites in partnership with many other organizations like Counterpart International, UNEP, and the Dutch Cooperation Agency, and others. We have, through these tools, been able in the past few years to bring training and technical assistance to more than 7,000 entrepreneurs in Latin America, the majority of them very small, small entrepreneurs that have been eager to implement sustainability practices just to improve the performance of their business and the triple bottom line concept. Apart from those trained, 530 businesses today have received additional technical assistance for implementing sustainability practices, and we monitor, as I mentioned before, every 18 months that they are indeed progressing. And also, many of these businesses have now opted for third-party independent certification. In the case of Costa Rica, for instance, 23% of all the hotels that are currently certified by the Certification for Sustainable Tourism, and those of you that do not know, the CST program, the Certification for Sustainable Tourism, is a program housed within the Costa Rican Tourism Institute, which is the Ministry of Tourism. So it's an official program. Businesses that get certified get a lot of additional benefits in promotion. I encourage them to go up the ladder of sustainability. So we have helped 23% of the hotels using GSTC materials to get ready for certification and win certification. In the same country, 38% of the tour operators currently certified by the local certification program in Costa Rica have received training and technical assistance. In the case of Ecuador and Guatemala, in Ecuador, 67% of all the companies certified by the Smart Voyager program have received training and technical assistance based on the GSTC materials and the criteria. In Guatemala, 100% of those companies currently certified by Great Green Deal or in the process have been also benefited by the work that we do. But another important, very important benefit is that we finally can measure progress. You know, we had that sort of like gut feeling, you know, we're doing the right thing and this is moving forward in the right direction. But with the indicators that the council has produced, which are just recommendations for anybody to use, we are now able to measure the progress that businesses are having. And very recently we concluded a series of case studies. They will be posted online as soon as we get resources to translate it to English. They're now available in Spanish, but the idea here is to measure the impact that the implementation of sustainability practices has had on many businesses. 71% of the businesses included in this case study have reduced water consumption, 93% have reduced energy consumption, 83% of the hotels are directly participating in conservation projects that at the same time contributes to the image of the company, increasing their competitiveness. 50% of the companies have improved their waste management programs, and 71% have reduced waste, despite the fact that in some cases some of them have expanded. 100% of the hotels included in the study are hiring local, and 93% are reporting now less staff turnover, which means more motivation from their people. Here is another case study from Sarapiquí in Costa Rica, a beautiful ecotourism destination outside of San Jose. And here you have graphs that showcase the performance by 5 local, very small businesses. The bars on the left-hand side on each one of these graphs represent the initial evaluation that we did, and then 18 months later, these businesses were reassessed. Within that time frame, we provided training, technical assistance, access to finances, all based on the Global Sustainable Tourism criteria, and these businesses were able to improve their social, economic, cultural performance, as you can see in the bars on the right side of each one of these graphs. In Mexico, very recently, 29 hotels were evaluated based on the Global Sustainable Tourism criteria, and as a matter of fact, I just got this information. From those 29 hotels, the highest score was at 78% compliance, the lowest at 27%, and the average at 54%. And the main problems were water consumption, solid waste management, lack of environmental education to staff and communities, lack of local development contributions, I mean, how the business contributes to the local development, and not enough respect for local cultures. Those were the areas that were evaluated as the main problems. 18 months afterwards, 16 of those 29 hotels were reevaluated after training and technical assistance. The highest score increased to 95%, the lowest to 52%, and the average to 70%. Now, some examples of improvement are that 100% of these hotels are hiring local people, 80% of the hotels are buying locally, and 90% of the hotels are reducing water consumption. All of those things are, from my perspective, wonderful things that have happened because of the existence of these tools that have enabled us to provide that kind of assistance to the local businesses. But let's bring this to reality, and I actually am going to cite a couple of examples. La Cusinga, is Heiner here? Yes. La Cusinga, one of my favorite places in Costa Rica, has done fantastic work, and here you can see a summary of the things that they've done, but contributions to the La Flor de la Bahía, the Bayflower School, the local school, which is very close to the Marino Ballena National Park. La Cusinga, through the work that they've done, have invested resources in providing the local school with a computer lab, access to internet. They're supporting the athletics team and also building a waste management center. But just talking to Einer this morning, I realized that there were many other things that I missed on this slide. Like, for instance, the work La Cusinga has done with tour operators. They offer free lodging to tour operators to come and stay at La Cusinga, to train local fishermen that now have transitioned from unsustainable fishery operations to actually running tours. And of course that means a benefit for the business, because now travelers staying at La Cusinga can take these tours, but also means reducing threats on the environment. They also have a fantastic reforestation project to support the building of corridors that connect the Marino Ballena National Park with other protected areas. Another example is Pacuare Lodge, also in Costa Rica, which has many fantastic programs to support the local community, including sponsoring the uniforms for the soccer team. You know how important soccer is in Latin America, right? We have to help that. But also having a fantastic program to protect the jaguar in conjunction with the wildlife management program at Costa Rica's National University, installing cameras to monitor jaguars in their private reserve, and many other fantastic work to protect wildlife in that part of the country. In Guatemala, El Delfín, from energy efficient light bulbs to promoting interaction with local communities, fantastic work also being done there. And Villa Blanca, Costa Rica, which started, they were already certified by the local Costa Rican program, so that they had about 2 leaves and they were about to lose their certification. They called us in and say, bring all those tools that the council has developed. We need your help. We need to really raise, and we need to get to 5 leaves, and they did. They implemented, leaves is the ranking, is the ranking for how sustainable a business is in Costa Rica. It goes from 0 leaves to 5 leaves, as opposed to stars used in quality. And Villa Blanca was able to go from 2, I believe, to 5 by installing recycling center, labeling hazardous materials, many other wonderful things, and more recently establishing a partnership with the Costa Rican National Biodiversity Institute to do research on site. And this is a beautiful lodge located in the cloud forest. And like that, there are many other examples. Morgan's Rock is here in the room from Nicaragua, and I believe they're sitting in the back, Gabi, and many other businesses in all the countries in Latin America where we work that are wonderful examples and an inspiration for us to continue doing the work that we do, and for the council to continue doing the work that it does. On the marketing side, we have to make sure that we just don't provide only training, but also the benefits that these businesses need and the recognition on the marketplace. So we have tried to tap on every single way a business can communicate its commitment to sustainability in the marketplace. The first step was to sign partnerships with tour operators, but we couldn't sign partnerships with tour operators without the common language that the council has provided. You know, my frustration was going to many trade shows around the globe and saying, for God's sakes, you really have to give priority, Mr. Tour Operator in Germany or the Netherlands, to businesses that are implementing sustainability practices in Latin America. And the response was always, but how do I understand that? I mean, what do you mean by implementing sustainability practices? Who has set up those standards? How does it relate to how I understand sustainability in Germany or the Netherlands? And having that common language has enabled us to say, well, these businesses have at least complied with this minimum criteria. And then, of course, go deeper into certain areas that are important given their ecosystem or their socio-cultural reality. And that has enabled today us to establish 138 partnerships with inbound and outbound operators, reaching out to more than 700,000 travelers a year. We were able to establish a partnership also with the Green Travel Bridge, which is an initiative run by the largest travel association of travel agents and tour operators in Germany, mainstream, not niche market. They have everybody on board of that initiative, and every 6 months we're able to feed into their database those businesses in Latin America that are implementing sustainability practices in line with the global sustainable tourism criteria. Again, a wonderful opportunity for many small businesses to access, in this case, the German market. With Travelocity, we do the same. We feed into their green catalog that Erika presented before, all the businesses in Latin America that are implementing sustainability practices, and we launch or repackage a wonderful tool called the sustainabletrip.org. I don't know if you have seen it. We did a soft launch a couple of months ago. We're doing the formal launch next year, taking advantage of the fact that many travelers today are making decisions based on the information they find online. Here in the sustainabletrip.org website, you can find businesses from Latin America and the Caribbean that are either certified by a program that is in compliance and in the road to get it accredited by the council, businesses that the Rainforest Alliance has verified, or businesses that have received endorsement from a reputable conservation organization whenever in those countries where certification doesn't exist. It has provided benefits for travelers, it has provided benefits for tour operators, more importantly, benefits for those small businesses that, as I mentioned before, have very reduced marketing budgets, but very important sustainability efforts. Finally, establishing alliances with governments and chambers. Now we have a common language that we can sit down with these organizations and say, well, let's set up a program to at least train businesses in Ecuador, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Belize, and other places to help enable these businesses to comply with the minimum criteria for sustainability. And then, of course, we set up deeper programs to go into the needs of each location. These are just some examples of partnerships with tourism bureaus, ministries of tourism, and local chambers. And we use the GSTC to educate travelers, organize fam trips, press trips, participation in trade shows, catalogs, and others to really give businesses, small businesses, a chance to be recognized in the marketplace for the wonderful work that they're doing, helping us accomplish our mission. And back to the first slide, the GSTC has definitely helped further the work that we do, and I commend Erika for leading that organization and really providing all these tools and the work that the committees are doing. Maybe you don't realize the impact that this is having on the ground. So thank you very much, and thank you all of you for your attention.
Thank you. So now we'd like you to be a part of this workshop. And what we've done is we have 3 board members in the audience, May, Shannon, and Richard, and the 3 of us, and we'd like to help wander around and facilitate this discussion. So if you have questions that come up from either these presentations or just as you're discussing things, we're available and we'll be kind of meandering around. The goal of the GSTC is mainstream sustainability. The vision one day would be that we hold conferences on other topics because everybody's already doing this. And hopefully in our lifetimes we'll see this achieved to a certain degree. We have leaders in the audience. You are all part of the industry in some capacity, whether it's public land management, to actually running tours, to running hotels, to being part of restaurants, being part of movements through your NGO work. You're all part of this industry. What we want to know from you as your minds come together around these round tables for the next 20 minutes or so is, how do we bring and engage other businesses to become more sustainable? And we hope that through this discussion so I think we're kind of all mixed up here, that we'll generate new ideas. And then we will ask different tables to report out. So what we'd like you to do is have a recorder and have someone write down these ideas as you're talking. We're going to give you 15 minutes starting now to generate some ideas, and then we'll come back together and highlight some of your work. So 15 minutes, and we're available. So if you need anybody, just raise your hand and we'll be meandering around the room. If you're only at a table with a couple people, join some others.